This video I'm going to be doing a different type of seam embellishment. I'm going to be doing a binding over the raw edges here and over on this one. And then I'm going to top stitch down some spandex stretch light fabric, because I'm probably going to be making the garment out of a fitted or a structured knit with very little stretch but a little bit for the body. And since it's not going to be a body shaping garment, it's just going to be a fashion corset vest. And I don't quite have the same silhouette as the model that was the retail garments on. I need it to be a little more flattering to my body type. So this one's going to have the seam where instead of a solid seam like this, it'll have a little bit of a gap, and then when you wear it, it'll peek out a little bit. It'll give a little bit more overall stretch to the garment. So let's see if we can't figure out if this will look okay. I'm first going to sew this on with about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then I'm going to be folding this over and around the back to make kind of like a binding on the edge. And since I want the front part of it to be about a 1/2 inch, I'm going to be sewing this at the 1/2 inch mark. That'll give me the 1/2 inch binding on the front. First part of that. Now I'm going to need to press this. Fold it over once. Give it a real good press. Fold it over again. This time, when you fold it over, you have to press it really good to give a nice crisp edge over the raw edge of the fabric. And another press. And then you go back to the front. And I'm going to edge stitch this edge, but leaving this one open because I'm going to be top stitching this on top of this. Let me switch over to an edge stitch foot. You don't have to pull the thread through the foot press, but just good standard I always do. Center. Center needle position, and I'm going to do 2 millimeters over. I did 1.5 earlier and it was still a little too close to the edge for me. Now, obviously on the finished garment, I will be using lock stitching and finishing the raw edges. But I'm just doing practice garments now. That's one edge of it done. Let's go ahead and do the other. Now this has to go on the opposite way. So I'm lining up the raw edges here. I'm going to switch back to my other foot. Going to do another 1/2 inch seam on this one. Trying to keep my hands out of the way, sorry about that. You press this the same way. Press it once this way. Fold it over. Just finger press it really well to start with. Nice edge on that. This is probably the most important press right here, is folding it over the raw edge and making sure it's as cleanly over the raw edge as possible. Then put the edge stitch foot back in. I need to switch over to the center initiative needle position over 4 notches, which would be 2 millimeters. Now we're going to be top stitching on top of this black fabric. That's one on there. Now this is where you can decide how much of a peekaboo you want. This is also called a slot seam, and there's dozens of ways to do it. If you want to keep it real close, you can keep it real close so it doesn't, when you wear it, it only stretches out a little bit like that. Or if you want like a 1/4 inch showing, and you could do a 1/4 inch. You could do it however you want. For this test one, I'm going to go ahead and do butt the 2 edges together here, and then when you wear it, it'll just stretch out a little bit. And when you put these in here, you want to push them together, line them up as best you can. And this is what I call a peekaboo seam. Let's see. I've done these on fetish shorts for a guy that was doing a Mr. Leather end of the month show at one of our local bars. And when it's not stretched, it looks like that, and then when it stretches on the body, it gives a little bit of a peekaboo. That's what it kind of looked like when it's on the body. And then occasionally it would stretch out a little.